Are these cartoon characters Democrat or MAGA? Doesn't vote, just breezes through life thinking he's too good to care about what's going on. He fights bad guys and discovers that monsters are just humans in disguise. Democrat. Republican, not MAGA. He's known for having very ignorant values, but with Lisa around and The Simpsons being an entire joke on the political system, he would not choose Trump in the end. Democrat, but she would probably grow up to be an extremist and would purposely fit into a lot of dumb stereotypes just to make a point. Female ass kickers who fight for justice. Democrats. Insecure man who's upset because girls don't like him since he refuses to listen. MAGA. She sees flaws in the entirety of politics, but she knows that Democrat is the best we've got. He's not really into politics, but his niece would encourage him to vote Democrat and he would trust her. He would be for the Democratic Party, but he wouldn't vote. He's just a lazy POS who's oblivious to the world around him. He chooses to believe that ignorance is bliss. Money and power hungry who chooses to exploit his employees. MAGA. Strong working woman who fought for women's rights in the 30s. Democrat. She also had to wait tables when cartoons went into color, so she's for the working class too. Also known for supporting the working class and fighting economic hardships. Democrat. Neither. Just sees politics and humanity as a disaster waiting to happen. I could go on, but there's literally an episode where he dresses as Mustache Man. MAGA. Too young to vote, but he was a neglected child who had to figure out the hardships of the world through his community. Democrat. Are these Simpsons characters Democrat or MAGA? She was part of the union and she was at a teacher strike. Democrat. Republican, not MAGA. He is Christian, he's conservative, but he would hate Trump's establishment. Maud, on the other hand, is MAGA. She went as far as going to a Bible camp so she could learn how to be more judgmental. He's an immigrant and a blue-collar worker who keeps getting screwed over. Democrat. He's basically the Elon Musk of the show. MAGA. Doesn't vote. Uneducated, drunk white guy. He was probably encouraged to vote Democrat, but forgot. Strong feminist who knows right from wrong. Democrat and very much a Kamala supporter. Patty is MAGA, Selma is Democrat. Patty might be part of the queer community, but she thinks Trump is gonna lower gas prices. Selma cared about her own autonomy and she adopted a child from another country. Republican, not MAGA. He's a rich white guy who votes for the economy. But he probably interviewed Trump at a press conference and then Trump called him piggy. Fraudulent criminal who committed colonization. He would be MAGA if he were alive. Republican, not MAGA. He makes fun of Democrats all the time and he follows what Republicans tell him. But he ultimately votes Democrat when Marge and Lisa educate him. He's bad at his job and will do anything for $1. He's just a white man with no morals. MAGA. Democrat, and if he were alive and saw what we were going through, he would be mind blown. Old white boomer who would say that millennials need to pull themselves up by the bootstraps. MAGA. He's for healthcare and treats patients who are ignorant as hell. He would give his old standard chuckle at putting RFK in charge of health. Democrat. Are these characters from Hey Arnold Democrat or MAGA? Democrat. For minorities, for the working class, for essentially saving the world. Definitely a hard leftist who would vote Democrat. Democrat. But she would be extreme about it to the point where even other Democrats wouldn't really be on her side. She has potential to get into politics and could create better outcomes, but ultimately she would be in it for the power, not for the people. Democrat, and would grow up to be the mayor of Hillwood, with a lot of Zoran Mamdani traits. MAGA, he was a bully who acted shocked when he realized no one liked him. He also hated being told what to do. I could see him throwing a fit when he had to wear a mask in 2020, yelling for his mommy. Neither, but would ultimately vote Democrat. I mean, he grew up poor during the Great Depression and he partied in Woodstock. But he also didn't even finish elementary school until he was in his 80s. That was likely the turning point when he realized that all it takes to become a liberal is a little bit of education. MAGA spends all day watching Fox News. He also relied on a woman to take care of him and a child to work his job. And when Trump yelled how smart people don't like him, he would yell, "Yeah, Trump!" Doesn't vote. He would just be like, "Come on guys, everything is great," while the world is falling apart, and he would just skip along and whistle. Then he would fall into a giant pothole that never got fixed because the tax money went towards billionaires. He would not notice the irony and just yell, "I'm okay." Democrat, and would absolutely be a Kamala supporter, giving lectures at colleges about how we can change the future of America. She knows this shit isn't over. She would probably become friends with AOC. Would probably claim he doesn't vote as he sulks in the corner waiting to breathe on Helga. But he would vote MAGA. He has nothing else better to do. MAGA. He gets paranoid so easily he would totally get sucked in. He would scream and cry about how the drag queens are out to get us, and Arnold would have to calm him down for the 40th time. MAGA 1,000,000%. She grew up rich and entitled. Being poor was the worst thing that could happen to her, and she looked down on anyone who was different than her. She would grow up to have her own social media channel about being a conservative, like an Emily Wilson type. Democrat, he essentially had an addiction that was caused by grief over someone he loved. When he overcame that, he would work with underprivileged children, giving them a better world. Democrat, she was raised by a single parent and they were poor. She would absolutely be for the working class. Democrat, he was a Vietnamese immigrant who just wanted to work, sing, and reunite with his daughter. MAGA, he would claim the title of the nice guy and blame women for all his problems. He would live his adult years in his parents' basement, or at the very most, he might get his own place, but there would be nothing in the living room except a small couch and a TV. Then he would say we need to protect the women from men and women's clothes. Are these characters from Hey Arnold Democrat or MAGA? Part 2. In my last video, I got so many comments saying I need to make a part 2, so here you go. Hard leftist. Protested the shit out of everything and will stop at nothing to burn the system down. Totally voting Democrat. MAGA. Every time Trump says how stupid his own supporters are, Stinky goes, "Hey, hey, hey, he's funny." A gay male who works in education and brings his students into nature and art. Safe to say he votes Democrat. MAGA, the type who would post a selfie of herself at the gym with a caption that says, "Only hot girls vote conservative," while wearing an ugly MAGA hat and 10 pounds of lip fillers. Democrat, extremely environment coded and all about saving the planet from climate change. She endorsed Bernie, Rhonda voted for Trump, and that's the reason why they're not friends anymore. Democrat, grew up to be a hippie who's all about peace and love. Her shirt has always suggested she's had liberal parents. Republican, not MAGA, believes that hard work gets us somewhere, even in the year 2026. But he hates listening to Trump speak. In 2024, he wasn't ready for Kamala though, so he voted third party. MAGA, takes care of a loser husband when she clearly hates him. Spends all her time working to make him happy and has no grasp on using that to make the world better. Has potential to vote Democrat if she ever left Oscar, but let's be real. She's gonna be with Oscar until her last breath when she keels over in the kitchen with that sandwich he's always wanted in her hand. Her life was dedicated to satisfying her husband, and she still couldn't do it. Do I really have to say it? Extreme businessman, misogynist, puts buildings ahead of trees, and has the no pain, no gain mentality. He's as MAGA as Arnold's head is football-shaped. MAGA, puts her psycho husband ahead of her children, she lets Fox News make all her decisions, and just has no ability to think for herself. She's the type who would be in the comments on my videos about Pride Month saying, "Why do we need a whole month for Pride when our veterans don't even get a whole month?" When we all know. Democrat, hear me out. She was educated, she really cared about her education, she worked as a student teacher, and she worked with underprivileged children. She was also supportive of the arts as a piano player. She has strong values, but she would lower them for a man. She almost did that when she dated a guy for 3 weeks. As much as she does make a difference, she would marry a MAGA man and secretly vote Democrat. MAGA, even though he worked in education, he was not for the future of children. He was all about law and order and being in charge. And apparently he was inspired by Richard Nixon. I didn't know that until today. MAGA. He grew up rich and was terrified as being seen as anything less than perfect. He would vote MAGA for the sake of being included and would possess every insecure trait that every MAGA man has. He also took advantage of Arnold just out of spite. Screw this guy. Democrat, kind, strong feminist who would advocate for making the world a better place. Very progressive leftist. A lot of people ask me about Stoop Kid, and I'm just gonna say, he doesn't vote. As soon as he left his stoop, he went out and explored the world for anything that was fun and exciting. He did not develop the learning skills to have patience at a voting booth. That would have been too frustrating for him. He probably moved out of America when Trump won the first time. Are these characters from Rugrats Democrat or MAGA? Democrat, and he's all about being progressive compared to most Democrats. All about justice, equality, and respect for minorities. Moderate, mostly due to his fear. Thinks we should all just get along, and anytime someone makes a decision, whether it's positive or negative, he would say he doesn't think it's a good idea. This little see you next Tuesday is totally MAGA. She grew up entitled as hell and thinks the world owes her. She would absolutely despise anyone who was poor and would make sure that minimum wage workers do not get paid accordingly. She wouldn't even care if it made her own life worse, just as long as everyone else is suffering. Totally for minorities and would be about sticking up for others. She also had an educated mother, Democrat. He doesn't care that much about politics and he would try to distance himself so he could just do his own thing. Ultimately though, with his feminist mother and feminist sister, he would vote Democrat. She's all about equal rights, especially women's rights. She was also very caring for the environment. She would be giving lectures about climate change, Democrat. She also valued diversity and environmental awareness. She also advocated for animal rights. I could see her and Susie running a campaign about saving the planet, Democrat. Doesn't vote, just hangs out in a dark corner being irrelevant. He would probably sit on the couch in the basement and say to the other kids, "Ugh, you're going out to vote again?" Considers himself apolitical, but he would vote Democrat. He's all about creative expression, he doesn't follow a traditional career, and is ultimately a free spirit who would be about positive change. MAGA, she would be all about tax breaks for billionaires, thinking she's on their level when she's closer to poverty than she realizes. As a white rich woman, the only thing she cares about politically is the economy, and she thinks Trump is going to give her a stimulus check. Total feminist who runs a small business and would be for queer rights, Democrat. She was a teacher who became a psychologist. She also doesn't follow every tradition, Democrat. Fiscally conservative and would define Trump as a stealthy man of business, MAGA. Republican, not MAGA. He thinks everything Democrats do is woke. And he would be uncomfortable if any of the babies grew up to dye their hair blue and get a septum ring. But he would not support Trump's bigoted views and knows the tariffs are not going to help anyone. Blue-collar worker and an immigrant. He educates the youth about other cultures. He would definitely be left.